And a 3, a 2, uno.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
And away we go. Rod Ryan here and Jason Ginty here. Episode 57, Play Pants Podcast. We're on YouTube. Smash, like, subscribe. We are on your Instagram. We on your Facebook. We on your Twitters too, bruh. We everywhere. We coming to get you. Hey, look at this. We're going to catch shit, but a lot of people have been texting me today and hit me on the DMs. They've been sliding up into my DMs and they're like, are we going to do 2 in a row? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to do 2 in a row. Can't promise 3 in a row, but we got 2 in a row today, Rod. I'm real proud of us for getting this pulled together today. And it's funny, like going behind the curtain, people might think, wow, you guys, to sound that shitty on this podcast, you guys must put a lot of effort into it, right? No, we banged this bitch out with seconds running up the stairs. And you put a sheet together. I will give you credit, dude. You're very organized with the sheet.
Always.
But it's like, you
read it though. They're like, what number podcast is this? And I'm like, Dick, I send you something.
I know. I'm the worst at this, dude. But hey, we pull it together. Here we go. Episode 57. Rod, it was funny. And I know we're going to talk about this, but this last night, okay, my kid back to school, 8th grade, first day today. First day back in school today. And, he's at the point, he's like, whatever, first day. He's been going to the same school for years. No big deal, right? He's got all the brand new notepads and all the pencils and all the shit. He's down there sharpening pencils, which, by the way, back in our day.
Oh, yeah. It was down in the basement. It was down in the basement of my dad's shop.
Ripping on them. And I actually liked that job. It was kind of fun. Knowing full well I was never going to use them for anything good. So he gets out and he's got to put his name on every folder, every fucking thing he's got in his life. He's got to put his name on it, right? Because you're going to school and the kids are going to rip it off. He gets out an old school magic marker, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm doing shit on a laptop. All I hear is that squeak sound that markers make. Squeak, 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 as he's writing. And I'm like, that sound is unmistakable. I'm like, oh, holy shit. Is
he using a Sharpie or is he using something more aggressive?
Old school, like the magic markers, those black, just fucking, you're never getting that shit off type of marker, right?
Smells.
And that was it. That was what got me. I'm sitting there and he's writing and I'm like, I go, oh my God, dude, the memories of school. I remember sitting down. I could see what I was wearing. I remember the clothes I was wearing. Not play pants, by the way. Those were the school clothes. Those were the good clothes, right?
Yeah.
I could remember the smell came in and dude, I could see 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, all my first days of school rolling by. And I've not thought of that in years. It was not talking about going back to school, not all the stupid commercials you see on TV and hear on the radio. It was my kid's marker that was blowing my mind last night. And then I started sniffing markers the rest of the night because it was awesome. But no, it's very fuel-like smelling, right?
That black marker, whatever it was, I was looking to see if I had one, and I don't, but it was like metal. It was metal, had a black cap on it, but it really, really smelled like fuel almost. Like a fuel, like an industrial, like a metal smell to it. It was strong. But dude, it's something you smell in school. And then I started thinking about other smells because what's great about like with us in the radio world, music, you hear a song you haven't heard in a while, that's going to take you back to, when you're listening to Home Sweet Home, you're thinking, oh yeah, buy virginity, bro. It's gone. Oh, yeah. Now. You know what I'm saying? I was humping horribly. Songs by the middle of the song, you were done, right? So her dad came home. I didn't make it to the end of the song. Like you could air guitar the guitar solo because you were all done, right? So I mean, so those songs will bring back old memories, right? Well, scents are the same way. You smell stuff. So I started thinking, what else? Remember, we used to have chalkboards back in the day, banging those erasers, and someone would always come up behind you and smash the erasers together, and then you'd be covered in chalk dust. Do they not have chalkboards anymore? Dude, they got some shit going on that's like dry erase boards, but then they got there's a lot of computer shit going on, dude. I don't know when's the last time you've been in a classroom, but it's been a while. Quite a bit. Is there no chalkboards though? Not really. No, I've not seen any in my kid's classroom in years. No, really? It's I mean, awesome. you gotta write stuff big. Dry erase. Dry erase boards. Yep, those things are brilliant. But the chalk, remember the chalk, that smell, you can't mistake it. It's like, did you guys get to go and clean the erasers?
That's really weird. I've had this discussion before. I don't remember anyone ever having to clean the damn erasers. It's just
okay.
Just clean.
So you would beg to do it. So you would like beg, the teacher would pick somebody at the end of the class and you would go and clean the erasers, but you would go down to where the custodian was. Okay. Mr. Roski was the custodian in grade school, the scariest looking dude ever. You know who he looked like? I'm not going to know the actor's name, but you're going to get this reference. Mr. Roski, number one, he was the meanest looking guy in the school. He had more authority when he came in, when everybody was going wild in the cafeteria. When Mr. Roski came in, they would get him to settle us down. He would be the guy that would slam like a yardstick down. So Mr. Roski looked like that crazy proctologist from Cannonball Run with the huge,
the weird eyes and shit.
With the huge eyes and the crazy, crazy
eyebrows.
Yes, that looked like Mr. Roski. So
Jesus,
you'd go down
scary.
to where the custodian was, and you would just go and slam these things together, and you're breathing in all of this chalk, which is gypsum, and you're breathing it all in, and boom, 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 and you're coming, and you're coated in it.
Yeah.
But you would bring back, hey, I did the erasers. She would pick somebody, your teacher would pick somebody at the end of every class to go do the erasers. And you were just, for some reason, you wanted to do it. You would think that it would be like a torture to go do that.
You got out of some schoolwork, dude. It's you, and it takes 5 minutes. You're dicking off for 20. That's
why
for sure. You did it, man. That's why. And then I was thinking, remember the old pink erasers? Remember you had the ones that went on the back of pencils, but you had those big ones that looked like little wedges, and you erase those things. That smell, unmistakable. All these schools, the rubbery, weird pink, but it was a specific smell. That pink eraser had a certain smell, man. I'm like, Jesus. So I was thinking about this last night as my kid's doing this. I'm like, it's a weird.
So does Henry take the picture with the chalkboard or the dry erase board, and it's what grade he's in? 9th grade?
8th grade. Now
8th grade.
In theory,
does he take the picture? Does he stand there? This is what I want to be, class of, and then you do the math and you say when he's graduating, all of that.
We don't get into that shit. We're not that smart. We've on the front porch, first day, he stands on the front porch and I just print off on a regular piece of paper, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. Well, this morning, there's a lot of drama in the old Ginty household because, did I do it last night? No, I didn't. I didn't. Right. So this morning, you get up and it's a mad scramble. Where are my shoes? Where's my socks? I can't find my glasses. And this is about me. This is not about my kid. This is me, right? I'm scrambling around trying to get my shit together, trying to eat a bagel. My wife's like, did you make the sign? I'm like, I fucked. I did not make the sign for this morning's picture. Meanwhile,
is your kid even going to school for the first day if he doesn't have a sign and stuff? Come on.
So no, I couldn't get the printed or it was a whole thing, right? So then now everyone's pissed off. My kid's just trying to go to school. And when you're trying to get out of the house, it's an episode of 24 from back in the day. The clock is ticking. You got to be in that car at a certain time or you're going to get caught in traffic, man. So we go scrambling out. My kid's just like, whatever, take the fucking picture. You can just see it on his face. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. So we just took a plain old picture, no sign, which I'm going to eat on that for a long time, dude. So I said, look, I'll print off a sign tonight.
Oh, you stink.
We'll take one tomorrow.
You stink. Nobody wants to see the day 2 picture.
Nobody's going to know the difference.
Hey, here's my kid. Here's the second day of school. Nobody gives a shit.
I know.
It has to be day 1.
I'm a shitty dad. What can I say?
Suck.
I'm not good at this, man. All these years, I still suck. It's not easy, dude.
Does he have to wear a uniform?
Yes. And, at first I was like, ooh, a uniform. I had, we've talked about this ad nauseum on this, especially the first few episodes. You had your school clothes. You had your play clothes, your play pants. That's why this damn podcast is named that. So
sure.
I had to go out as a kid. My mom would buy the new clothes and we'd wear that shit. He's got a uniform. I'm like, oh, dude, that sucks, bro. You got to wear the same shit every day. After about 2 weeks, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
There's no guessing what shirt I'm going to wear.
Is it tan khaki pants and a white shirt?
He's actually doesn't have a bad uniform. It's like a light blue shirt and then like dark blue shorts or pants. So there's no khaki involved. So it's kind of cool.
Okay.
It's
but it takes all the guesswork. You're not running around. What am I going to wear? What am I going to wear?
5 shirts, 5 pair of pants. You're good.
That was one of the things last week when we did our podcast. I talked about like meeting a Buffalo radio legend. and who's still on the radio station, which is 97 Rock in Buffalo. There was a 97 Rock in Houston. We got into it. We talked about the logo and everything. And high school for me was 10, 11, and 12. Junior high, what you guys call middle school, it was 7, 8, and 9. So 10, 11, and 12. I go to high school in 10th grade, and we don't wear uniforms. I just go to a public school. And I shared that with Russo, who's still on that radio station. And I said, high school, you're freaking out, man. Like, you're freaking out. You were the king in middle school, and then you go to high school, and those kids seem huge.
Yep.
And for me, and I remember this specifically, my first day of high school, I wore the 97 Rock t-shirt, black t-shirt, 97 Rock. It's the cool station that everyone listens to.
Right.
And it was like the absolute safest thing to wear. I remember like thinking, what am I going to wear my first day of school? Because, you think that everyone's going to be looking at you.
Of course.
And nobody gives a shit.
And because you're the young guy, you're going to get your ass kicked no matter what. So you try to decrease the amount of pain you're going to endure. It's funny you bring this up, because we were talking about, over the weekend, I'm talking to Hank, my kid, and we were talking about, 8th grade. What are you feeling, man? You cool with it? You excited? He's like, yeah, my last year here, and then I move on to high school because he'll be at 9th grade next year, high school, 9th grade here. He's like, yeah, kind of be the big dog around school this year. It's kind of cool. And I'm like, yeah, you will be. And then this morning driving in, we were talking about it some more, trying to feel him out. How's it going? You cool? And he's like, yeah, no big deal. He goes, it's going to be kind of cool being the, the older guy and the top dog at school. And I'm thinking, yeah, you enjoy that shit now, bro. Because next year you're going to eat so much shit.
Yeah.
High school. I'm like, you are in for a world of change, bro. Because you go to high school. I remember going to high school. I was small. I didn't quite, a lot of my buddies were all hitting their peaks, and I'm still like little freaking squirrel face, no fuzz, no nothing going on. And I'm like,
your high school was about the same size as mine. Like your graduating class, you think it was 400 people?
Yeah, it was 4 something. Yeah.
So definitely. It was, so our high schools were about the same size. So, there was a lot of kids. They didn't know any better. So I didn't know if it was big or small. It was what it was. But
that's where we went.
The junior highs were split up. So there was definitely less people in the 2 junior highs at North Tonawanda. And then boom, everybody went to high school. It was a big noticeable difference. Wow, there's a shit ton of people here.
Well, yeah, there's all these new people. You don't have any idea who they are. You're like, who the fuck?
Yeah, because the merging of the 2 junior highs was wild. It was definitely like, whoa, all these brand new people.
And everyone's fighting for some sort of dominance of some sort, trying to fit. First, you're trying to fit in. Second of all, you're trying not to get killed. And you've got these 2 tribes coming together. The younglings come in from 2 different junior highs. Same thing with me, man, where I went. And they're all trying to figure out, okay, I'm cooler than you are. And each junior high's got their buddies and their cliques. And then you're fighting each other. And then you're fighting up the food chain against the older kids.
So I had long hair. Okay. So I had long hair back then, and there wasn't a whole lot of people with long hair like mine. My mom was really cool about the hair for some reason. And and I'm playing the drums and doing all of that. And I'm probably in a dopey band already. But when you go to high school, you're scoping out the rockers, like you're looking for similar people.
You're
type
looking
of
for
deal.
your tribe. Yes.
You're looking for your peeps. Right. So, and then I'm like, wow, look at that guy over there. His hair's like super long. Holy shit. Long in the front, long over. I wonder what he does. I wonder if he plays in a band. You start immediately feeling out, okay, who's who? Who's that guy? What does he play? That was a huge thing about going to high school. That was a massive thing because everybody was such a poser. Everyone was trying to act cooler than they really were. Now, the way that it works with bands here in Houston, because we've done so much with local music, they're all so unbelievably supportive of one another. Everyone's nice to one another. It wasn't like that, man. Like everybody thought like they were the best and you were lucky to be hanging with them. It was different. Like people weren't nice, man. There was no support. There was like all the rockers didn't get together and say, hey, man, let's do a big support group and let's all hang out and really support one another. No, it was every man for himself, and you were trying to like pick out the best guy. I want to get the best guitar player and we want to like destroy everybody.
Yeah, it's like the movie Rockstar. We had Marky Mark's tribute band, and then you had Stephen Jenkins was the singer of the competing cover band. Remember
The Third Eye Blind guy was in that movie. You're right.
So they were competing. Remember they were just beating the shit out of everything, getting fist fights in the parking lots at the concert.
You didn't support other bands, so it started in high school that everybody had a bit of an ego. The rock guys did, because I lived in that world. I kind of knew everybody. That was the cool thing about being like a musician when you were in high school. Like the jocks wanted to hang with you, the nerds, everybody, like it was good. Like it was a good space. It was a really good space to be in because you could hang with everybody. Because it was, I don't know, it was a little bit more segmented back then. I don't know if it's still like that now, but there really were burnouts and what we called treads and then jocks. And then, there really were preppies, all of that.
I remember it very vividly because I remember I didn't play an instrument. I wasn't an athlete, but I seemed to get along with pretty much all the groups, like the nerds, the smart guys, the cool guys, the dipshits. I could kind of hang with everybody and have conversations. And I was never like cool or in with them, but I could kind of get along with everybody, which was kind of neat. But what's really interesting coming from where we come from, like, graduating, I graduated in 1990. So, I went to my 10-year reunion in 2000 and it was cool because, people, you're 10 years out of high school. Everyone kind of looks the same. Some guys are a little bit balder. Some of the girls aren't as thin. Some of the dudes aren't as thin. You got 10 years of wear on you from high school, but it's kind of the same. I've never gone back to a high school reunion due to the fact that Facebook exists. Okay. I don't need to. I know what these people look like. You know what I mean? Like I haven't done that because
it does take away like how shocking it was to see everybody.
Right. Yeah. See, I will never go to a reunion. I don't think. Now, if I got buddies from high school, like, hey man, we're coming to New Orleans, we want to hang out. Absolutely, dude. Come on down. Let's hang. That I would love. But as far as like going to a reunion and spending money to go back home, hell with that shit. I ain't doing that.
My 35 was a couple of weeks ago, and I was already going back to Buffalo like 2 weeks after. So there was no way I was going back in and out. And you can't do a weekend in Buffalo. So no. It's funny as we're talking about this. I wanted to pull up because I don't know lyrics to any songs, but I pulled up Rush Subdivisions.
Oh, I love that song.
Okay. In the high school halls, in the shopping, conform or be cast out, subdivisions, in the basement bars, in the backs of cars, be cool or be cast out.
Yes. Oh my God.
That song was, in the high school halls. It was singing to us and all the different subdivisions of people that were in. I mean, that Neil Peart, he knew how to write some lyrics, man.
Oh, he was great at the lyrics. He was a pretty good drummer, a little on the drummy side for me, but he was a hell of a lyricist. Yeah. A little wordy on the word side. So yeah, back to school, dude. I'm glad it's not me. Because you know what you think, and I have not given thought about high school or anything like that till today, till right now. And it's all kind of like, it makes a little more sense now. Like I've never put it in these compartments of tribes and fighting uphill, downhill, junior highs fighting each other. Like it's the fucking Hunger Games, dude, except for not as much death. It's wild going to high school. It's just wild.
It was wild. It was a little bit, there was this, like there were fights and stuff, and I liked it. I mean, I don't look back on school and say, oh, it sucked. When I met Jason at community college, which was basically 13th and 14th grade.
Yes, it was.
I never met somebody that hated school more than Jason. Like he hated it. Like you hated it. And even when we talked about it, because you had already I met you at college and you had been there for a little while. So you finished before me.
Right. And
for some reason, I just always thought I'm going to go to Buffalo State College. I'm going to go get my 4-year degree. You're like, no fucking way. You're like, no way. I hate this. Like there was you hated it.
High school.
At least you seemed like you came off like you hated it. I didn't hate it. Right, I thought it was cool, man. I kind of liked it. I mean, obviously we got to work at the radio station. So that part of it was cool in college, but even in high school, like I don't look back on it. I didn't hate it. Like I had such a good time. I formulated lifelong friends on every level and stuff. Like it was awesome, but I got along with everybody. I wasn't getting fucking beat up every day. That would suck if you're getting beat up every day. I can see why you would hate high school. I had a great time, man. Fucking, I partied my ass off all through high school, all through college.
See, I didn't, I guess saying I hated school, I didn't hate it. I didn't have bad experiences. It was fine. It was totally cool. I just felt at a certain point, like halfway through my senior year, I was like, fucking, what am I doing? I'm not learning anything. Now, you know what's really interesting about this, about you saying hating school? Yeah, I was very young, very youthful. And in college, the school part was just a means to an end. I just knew I had to go to school to get into radio. That was it. I didn't give a fuck about business classes or any of these painting classes you had to take or this bullshit. Give me my radio classes. Let me get a job. That was my mentality, which is kind of narrow in thought process. What's really interesting is I've gone back to local colleges here and taken a lot of classes over the years. Like, I'll just be like, you know what? I want to learn about that. And I'll go sign up for I got college credits just dangling in the wind, which I don't care about. But I've gone and taken college courses. I've taken history classes. I took some math classes. I took all this shit. Nobody knows about that. I never told anybody that. But I did it because I'm like, I kind of want to learn. I did tell you. But you know what's really interesting is then I was into it. Why? Because I'm older. I have zero distractions. I'm not looking at the chick next to me. I'm paying for it. I cared. And I got aces in all of the classes I took.
Is there any piece of you that like wants your bachelor degree?
No.
It's not that. It's not like, hey, I want to knock this out and get this out of the way. I mean,
no.
To be honest with you, why? I mean, why would you? I'm glad that I did it when I did it. I don't need it. I don't need that piece of paper. I know there it is hanging on the wall. I'm the dipshit that's got them hanging up, my degrees. I don't think about it, but there's some, even on the 2-year, there's just some sense of accomplishment that I did something.
Yeah.
You know, when you're going to sit down and I don't know what London's going to do. I got plenty of time, but I guess I do think that maybe college would be a good idea for her to go to, and to have that in my, because her mom didn't go. So for me to say, hey, I did it, Dad did it, you can do it.
Yeah. That's the thing. And okay, here's why I think I hated school. And I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, it all makes a lot more sense now. Is my kid's orientation was yesterday at school. And somebody asked the science teacher, hey, quick question, like, because now it's 8th grade, so they're doing a lot of chemistry and all this cool shit, And one of the parents asked the teacher, hey, is my kid going to have to memorize the periodic table of elements? What do they call that thing, right? The
periodic table. You got it. Yeah.
Do we have to memorize that? And the teacher's like, no, we don't do that anymore. We teach kids to think, to reason, to solve problems. The old days of just memorizing a bunch of shit, dates and stuff that we all did in school, you don't remember any of it. We teach you to think. And I'm like, see, that's the problem. I didn't like all the memorization of bullshit.
Well,
but you touched back then.
And you touched upon something too, because you're young and you just, like you said, it was a means to an end.
Right.
I wish I knew, I took some art history classes. Like that would be awesome to know about that shit right now. It'd be awesome if I could just sit here and rifle off about all the cave paintings that I learned about and Queen Nefertiti and blah, 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 and all this other shit. It would be awesome if I remembered any of that stuff. I just learned it so that I could pass the test.
Yep.
Because you're just trying to get through it. I mean, you're paddling so fast. You're in college. You're not absorbing anything. You're absorbing everything until the test. And then boom, it's gone. It would be awesome if I applied myself. I mean, I applied myself. I did well in school.
Right.
But you're doing it just to get it over with.
Exactly.
And you're not appreciating it at all. For instance, when I graduated high school, I went right to community college. Fuck, dude. It was 3 weeks in and I was skipping classes, and I was out partying and shit. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't need to do this. I quit. I quit. And then I'm like, I'm going to be a rock star. Well, that didn't fucking work. So I tried to be a rock star. So I lived that lifestyle for a little bit, which was fun, which was really fun. But then I just realized, okay, this sucks. I better go back. So thank God I did go back. But I went back and it was even just 2 years later, I felt like I was a little bit older.
Yep.
I was paying for everything and I was a little bit more into it, but I'm still just trying to get through everything to pass the test.
I'm telling you, one of the best things I ever did, and I just haven't had the time now, is look, man, dig around the community college where it's in your city. Community colleges would love to have you take a night class, would love to have you. What are you into? You don't need to go get a degree. I took a Louisiana history class and it was fucking fascinating. The teacher was cool as shit.
How many people are in the class?
15. And they're all young because they're doing it for credit. They're in the back sleeping. I'm sitting front row, center, taking
you're the fucking nerd asking questions. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up now. Everyone gets to go home. As long as there's no questions, everybody can leave now. And then there's you.
No,
well, you know what? That Louisiana purchase, though, can we run through some of that a little more?
Let's go back on that. No, I knew that. I would never do that. But dude, like every test, he'd have an extra question, extra credit. Fucking my test scores were like 105s, 110s. I'm like, it was so awesome. I read everything, but I cared. So go dig up. What are you into? Go look at that community college class. I'm telling you, it's not that expensive. Couple hours a night, and after a semester, you're like, holy shit, that was cool. Even if you fucking fail, who cares? You can learn some shit because you want to learn. And I'll probably dig up classes again and go take some at some point. It really is kind of fascinating to be able to sit down, pay attention, and again, you're not freaking out about a test because who gives a shit, you know?
Yeah. What? Is your mom going to yell at you?
No. When I told her, like, you're doing what?
Is your mom going to open up your report card and cuss you out and ground you? No.
But like there's you said, man, there's nothing. Older, wiser, and you give a shit. You want to do it. So yeah, I mean, take those classes, even if it's not a college thing. You want to go paint? Go fucking paint. Go take a class. It's worth it, man. I'm telling you.
Jason, there's a new documentary about Woodstock 99. It's on Netflix right now. It's a 3-part series. And there was already a Woodstock documentary. And we had talked about it before because I think my co-host Tessa, she saw something online, said, if you were at Woodstock, we want to hear your experience. She said, oh my God, Rod, write them. She always brings up, she's kind of fascinated with Woodstock 99. And she thinks it's cool that I was there. So she's like, you got to call them. So I did email them and there was a follow-up email. And I said, here's everything that went on. Clearly I had way too much fucking fun there because I wasn't a part of that narrative for that documentary. I didn't know that this one was coming out.
Right.
It's a 3-parter. It's about an hour for each day. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they do it. And I just made it through the whole thing. The guy, one of the main dudes on there, I went to Buff State with. I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, it's like this super Jewish guy, this super New York guy. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, damn, that can't be that guy. Yeah. I graduated with him from Buff State. He's like one of the main dudes in the documentary. So I brought it up to you. I asked you if you watched it and you kind of sounded like you had feelings, like maybe it wasn't something you wanted to dig into anymore.
You know what? I'll watch it eventually, but it's like one of those things that I saw it and I was like, do I want to sit and just watch a bunch of dumb drunk dudes get all rapey? I don't. So I'm going to move on and watch something else and watch The Gray Man, which was great, by the way. No, I didn't watch it yet. I don't know. Do you want to see? Already beat this to death, you know?
When you watch it though, like, don't you want to see people that looked like you in that year that it was happening and the clothes and what they were doing and what they were listening to and wearing the puka shells and, you know, and all that shit.
Yes.
It's cool to see that and the frosted tips on the douchebags and it's, so yeah, I watched it, of course, because I was there.
Right.
So of course I'm going to ingest all of this stuff, man. I'll watch, if they make another one, I'll watch it. This one, at least they talked to people that had fun there. So that part of it was kind of cool. Again, I would have loved to have been a part of it, but you know, there was 250,000 people there. So they chose some pretty good people though to talk to during the documentary. And they kind of talked about MTV. They glazed over, you know, they talked about Limp Bizkit and what it was like and Give Me Something to Break and how they were tearing down, you know, the plywood and Fred was not letting up. Fred was just working up more into a lather. but they left it at Limp Bizkit on Saturday. And I'm watching this thing and I'm like, fucking Rage Against the Machine came up after that. And then Metallica came on.
Jeez,
how could you how could you gloss over that for Saturday?
Right.
But the Chili Peppers closed out and we were pulling out. We were getting out of there. I did not see the Chili Peppers, but we were getting out of there because it was getting crazy. It was getting crazy on Sunday. So it was pretty good though. I recommend it if anybody's interested in it. It's just, I know it sounds, because people hear the stories. They're like, well, I heard about rapes and I heard all of these fires and I heard all of this sexual assault. Rod, how can you say you had a good time at something that those things happened? It didn't happen in front of me. I didn't see any of that. I saw naked chicks everywhere and a girl gets up and she's going to be kind of crowd surfing. Dudes are going to grab their titties. I mean, that was happening. There was fun to be had at that concert, man. It still goes down as the greatest concert I ever went to. It's pretty good. I forgot that Flea was completely fucking naked during their entire Chili Pepper set. Like his dong is out. He barefoot. Care. He doesn't have a stitch of clothing on. Flea was naked. He's got a pretty good tool. And he wasn't scared.
Dude, let me assure you.
My dick would have been in my belly standing in front of, they said at that point, there was about 125,000 people there still.
Holy
so
shit.
Still a pretty big show. And Flea doesn't have a stitch of clothing on. So his bass is covering up his junk most of the time, but not all the time.
Oh my God. If you're walking around with a huge dangle, man, hell, I'd be naked a lot more often too, but that's not my issue. It's not my issue. I don't have that problem, dude.
Yeah, he showed pretty well. It's called Trainwreck. I recommend it. It's really, really good. Speaking of the Chili Peppers, today, 38 years ago, today, as we record this on Wednesday, August 10, it's the 38-year anniversary of the very first Chili Pepper album. Their self-titled album 38 years ago, dude.
Good Lord.
And and I get it. There's going to be two people that say, oh, dude, that was my Chili Peppers. That was my Chili Peppers. I'll tell you right now, I didn't fucking know who they were. I didn't know who Chili Peppers were before Mother's Milk.
Nobody did.
Mother's Milk is when I was ahead of the curve, even knowing Mother's Milk.
No idea.
But the Uplifto, Mofo, Party Plan, whatever, man, very few people knew that. At least around in my circle, I don't know anybody that knew them before Mother's Milk.
No, there was a few early adapters, but they were Mother's Milk adapters. They were not early. Now they might have went back and dug around, but no. There's
most people came on board with Blood Sugar Sex Magic. That's when MTV, and then we've talked about that album before, came out on the same day as Nirvana, Nevermind. So for me, the Chili Pepper album coming out, that was a bigger story than Nirvana. I didn't know who the hell Nirvana was.
Nobody did at the time. You got to keep in mind though, man, you're looking at 38 years ago that came out.
The first album, yeah.
Flea's like 60. Kiedis is 60. Think about, look, Flea's a weird looking dude, but look at the shape he's in. Kiedis is in ridiculous shape still.
Oh, yeah.
These guys surf. They're athletes, man. These guys, you do not trifle with the Chili Peppers. These guys are in such great shape. But when you think about the energy of their show, these guys are in their 60s, man. That's what's great about the Chili Peppers. You know what? I've never been, whoa, the Chili Peppers. I love that band. I like them. I've grown to appreciate them more. But what I really like is what badasses they are, especially Flea. He's nuts, literally crazy, but so cool and doesn't give a shit. Cuts his hair weird, doesn't give a shit, does what he wants, doesn't care. It's awesome.
Aren't they the Rolling Stones of alternative? 38 years. I guess you could maybe say, U2, if you consider them alternative, maybe U2 is, the Rolling Stone. Maybe U2 is the Beatles of alternative. Maybe the Chili Peppers are the Rolling Stones.
When's the last time, I guess, to be fair, U2's come out with something that's been like, whoa, the Chili Peppers put current songs on the radio right now. They had a hit, number one hit, the Black, whatever the fuck that song is. I just played it 90 times today.
Black Summer.
Yeah, that one. Jesus, I'm so good at my job. But yeah, they're still relevant. They're still putting out shit. U2, where the fuck they been?
I mean, they did. I mean, they put out a fucking great album a couple of years ago. Is when I got to interview them. And then remember when they put it and they forced it into everybody's
Still
iTunes?
on my fucking phone, man. I can't get that thing off. What the hell, Bono?
It's a really good album. It's a really, really good album. And that was the one thing, I got to interview Bono, and he made no bones about it because we went out to dinner afterwards. Now, I say it's not Bono and I going out to dinner. It's every program director for iHeartRadio and every bigwig and everybody at this huge, 35-person table. But Bono said, we want to be on the radio. Make no mistake about it. We don't just put out albums. These aren't vanity things. These aren't vanity products. We want, projects. We want to be on the radio. Now that doesn't mean that you have to play it just because he wants to be on the radio. But the Rolling Stones, when they tour, for the longest time, they would put out an album and they'd play a lot of it live too, man.
It was
they can do whatever they want. 60 years. But they didn't have any illusions or disillusions about being played on the radio.
No.
They knew it was just going to be out there and fans were going to buy it. AC/DC still puts out music. I don't know if, classic rock, if they recognize that.
Nah, really. No.
Active rock. There's some active rock stations. Active rock is a hybrid between alternative and classic rock. And when AC/DC does put out an album, that active rock, there's not a whole lot of stations. There's one in San Antonio that people always blow me up about. They're like, dude, San Antonio's playing this, and this. It's a different format, bro. It's a different radio station. It's not
different city, different goals.
It's just a different station. It's a different format. Well, why don't you do that? Well, listen to last week's podcast. We're the number one fucking alternative station in the country. That's why we don't do that.
You know what? You kind of go with what's successful after a while. You kind of go, well, if we go over there and start doing that, we're going to fuck it up. Let's not do that.
All right. I know I'm bouncing around a lot. Friday is National Vinyl Record Day. You kind of got into buying some old vinyls, huh? Have you still kept it up, or you were talking about it for a while there, and then I hadn't heard you, mentioning hitting up any, secondhand vinyl stops?
I got into the game pretty late. Like vinyl was already cool. It was already huge. And I had been talking about it for years and years and years. Oh, I should do that. I should get some vinyl. I should get a record player. I finally got a record player for Father's Day a few years ago. And I started hitting the thrift shops. I'm like, oh, this is fucking great. I would just buy albums that were like names I'd recognize for $1, $1.50, bring it home, listen to it. If it's shit, bring it right on back to the old store and redonate it. No big deal. I'm only losing $1 here, but I picked up a lot of great albums. Well, guess what? From that period when I was doing that, I must have got the exact tail end of it because that lasted about 6 months. And then the thrift shops dried up. I have not seen any good albums in any thrift shop because it got way overboard. And now
they know they can charge you for it. They know that the market is, people have an eye now. Even if it's John Denver, they know they can get fucking $10 for it as opposed to $1.50.
So that kind of petered out on me. So I started just going out and sort of picking up a few of, more traditional albums. And then my kid was taking some music classes here in New Orleans, which is, of course, going to be centered around jazz. And he's playing the piano, playing all this jazz. He's learning about all these jazz artists, all these greats, And he comes home and he starts talking about them like it's the greatest thing in sliced bread he ever heard. Like us talking about, Soundgarden or something, And he's going on and on about all this shit he's learning. I'm like, well, give me some names, bro. Give me some fucking names. He starts spouting off all these names. I go out. Boom. I buy all this vinyl, man. We're sitting around at dinner time, listening to Miles Davis. Dave Brubeck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I can't even tell you who they are. All I know is it's so good. It's unbelievable. And I'm not a jazz guy. I don't give a shit. I don't know one song from the other. I put this on at dinner, and with vinyl, dude, you're forced to listen to it. That's what's great about it. There's no skipping. The song sucks. You listen for 10 seconds, you move on. No.
Yeah.
Vinyl, you're in for the ride. And you're listening and we're sitting there and we're eating and we're like, what is that song? That's amazing. So it's like we're discovering all this music as a family together at night.
That's cool. That's
Vinyl
awesome.
is the best shit in the world. For a guy like me who listens to bazillions of songs every day, and it's same as you, the vinyl has introduced me to a lot of artists. And we've talked about this before. Tommy Bolin, right? You guys, you and Davignon were always like, Tommy Bolin's the best. How do you not fucking know Tommy Bolin? And I'm like, because I don't. And then I found Tommy Bolin for $2. Teaser album. Put it on.
Oh my God. That album is amazing.
I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Put it on again. Oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe they're right. Now I'll fucking put that on once a week, dude. I love that album. It is so ahead of its time. It's so great, dude. Unbelievable. That's would have never happened if I didn't have vinyl. None of this discovery that I'm doing currently would be happening without vinyl.
Ton of jazz influence on that album too. On that Tommy Bolin album,
he was on a whole nother world. He was going to do some really cool shit, except for heroin. Got in the way, but yeah, dude. And I know you got a ton of vinyl. Now, I'm not going to go in like I'm not buying shit that I already have. I'm not doing that. What I am doing is buying a couple of specialty things. I love the Tragically Hip, my favorite band. So they reissued Road Apples, which is one of my favorite albums from them. And they had like, a special anniversary packages. I'm buying some of that stuff. It's like a red vinyl. And it's just the experience of putting on the vinyl. I have it. I have it in my iPods. I've got it on CD. So some of that stuff, if it's specialty, like the Chris Cornell, I bought that box set, that big box set a couple of years ago. And that included some vinyls. And that was cool. It's just awesome to listen to some of that stuff because of the vinyl experience. Yep. I have a jukebox in my house. I have a CD jukebox in my house. And that's something that my kid and I do. She likes still hitting the numbers and all of that. And we play albums that way, where we play whole albums because we just you can pick and choose individual songs, but we treat it almost like, okay, we're going to listen to this album. That's cool.
But there's something just so warm and cool. And with the little scratchy and the warts and everything of an album playing, the experience of it is cool. It's always like, okay, it's a little special right now. And you got to flip it and it's more work, but yeah. It's a different listening experience for me. So I'm kind of going in and buying some specialty stuff. I bought Appetite for Destruction and I probably paid $25-$30 for it. I bought a couple of things just because we talk about this, the needle dropper for me. Okay. Fucking putting down that needle on Master of Puppets. Oh. And then, dude, it's just, I call it the needle dropper. It just doesn't hit the same as hitting the CD.
Yep.
It's just dropping that needle on that track. And it's just fucking different, man. It's awesome.
I'm kind of the same way with newer stuff. Like I'll still go out and buy some jazz shit for my kid. And then now I've become a huge fan. But like I went out and bought the Foo Fighters' latest album because I wanted it on vinyl. I don't know why. I don't have any other Foo Fighters vinyl, but the newer one, the last one they did, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get this one on vinyl. And it's special. It's a special edition one. I bought.
It's cool. He makes all that stuff available. He puts out. I mean, he's very smart. He puts out all those packages. I did something similar with Tom Morello with Atlas Underground.
And then I bought Wolfgang Van Halen on vinyl. I'm like, well,
really
get the vinyl. Yeah, it was cool. It was like a special edition. I'm like, you know what? This is cool. Kid's first one. Who knows? Maybe down the road he does 10 albums. They're all great or something. I don't know. But either way, it was cool. I'll do that. Like, I'll find and seek out some weird stuff. If someone does a reissue, I'll be like, oh yeah, shit, that would be cool on vinyl. You know what I mean? Like I didn't go out and replace all my Van Halen records.
No,
I'm not doing that. I got them on CD. I got them on 15 different mediums. I don't need it again.
But the only thing that about buying the new stuff on vinyl is you're completely like chopping yourself off from the portability of it. That's why records didn't last, because that's why MP3s are so great. You can take that shit along with you everywhere. That's why even, that's what the cassette was all about, was the portability of music. So you can only listen to that Wolfgang Van Halen song one way in your house,
But it's okay because
you can't take it with you.
But the vinyl gets really put on dinner time. I'll be like cooking and I'm ready to serve. All right, let me run over, throw a vinyl on, and we're all going to learn about fucking Tommy Bolin, or we're going to learn about Miles Davis, or we're going to learn about whatever. So it becomes just a kind of a group. And we all sit there and talk about, this song's crap. Yeah, this one's kind of bad. We critique it, but it's fun. It's a great way to experience music, and you're forced to do it. It's not like YouTube where you just go, this is shit, move on. You can't do it. I mean, you can, but you're gonna scratch the shit out of your record.
Well, there is Friday, National Vinyl Record Day. I don't think it's
Well, that's not record store day though. That's
I don't think it's record store day. So I just I saw that and I didn't really look into it anymore. I just knew that we would maybe want to talk for 10 minutes about vinyl. We should probably take a quick break.
Yeah. I want to throw this at you, and then we'll get into our other thing, man. I just saw some kind of thing pop up on Twitter today, and it was out random, and it just said, somebody said, "Hey, what's your favorite Stone Temple Pilots album?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a good question. Simple." I'm like, we do top fives and all that good shit. We're going to get into a top five, but I was like, your favorite Stone Temple Pilots album. Now, I'm going to pose this question to you, Rod. You got Core was their first one, Purple, Tiny Music, and then the rest. I don't. And the stuff with Chester.
4. Well, their fourth album was 4.
Yeah, and that one I really liked a lot, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't like.
It's a good one.
There was another one in there too. Hold on. So,
Shangri-La-Dee-Da.
Yeah, that one wasn't.
That's in there, and then I think they just came out with a couple of albums that were just self-titled.
Maybe
I just completely just gave up on trying to come up with names for albums.
But so what's your favorite album out of STP?
Well, it's going to go back to you and I, in college, and when we were introduced to Stone Temple Pilots, we were sent the Core album, but the song Sex Type Thing, I don't know if we had a CD single of that, but that was the one that we played. And Jason and I have talked about doing that metal show together. And there was that's your first, man. That's your first experience with the band. And that was your first discovery of the band. So it's not even fair. The other albums don't have a chance. When you fall in love with something, it's as good as Tiny Music is, and as great as Purple is. Yeah. It doesn't even come close to that first album.
And it's funny because we've told this story on the early days of this podcast, and we're in college, and you're like, dude, you got to hear this fucking song. We're doing the metal show, and you're like, check this out. I'm like, you're like, it's a band called Stone Temple Pilots. I'm like, well, that's a weird name.
Yep.
This is what we're doing. We're discovering this shit for the first time. And you're like, check out this song. It's called Sex Type Thing. I'm like, okay. Because everything is new and weird at that time. And you played it, and I went, what the shit is that? That was awesome. It was visceral. It was like hearing Smells Like Teen Spirit in a way, because it just did sound different.
It was. I mean, Stone Temple Pilots, in the beginning, they got shit on for trying to be grunge.
Right.
And then they realized, hey, these guys are really, really good. Critics shit on that first album. They were horrible to them.
Yeah,
People were horrible to Stone Temple Pilots. And then it just took them a while because they were just trying to shit on something that didn't deserve it. And then they kind of realized, wow, the DeLeo brothers are total rockers. They're throwback guys. They're not trying to be grunge. They just grew up listening to classic rock, and they fucking know how to write riffs.
Yeah.
And then you just couldn't deny Scott Weiland was not a knockoff of anybody singing. He was doing his own thing.
He was. But what's really interesting is they toured a lot on that first album, and then they grew up. And I've read interviews where they're like, yeah, we're like, okay, we're going to go we're going to go and blow people's minds, and we're going to write our second album, Purple. And that album, to me, that's my favorite album. I love Core. Purple, you can hear that they changed. They went, oh, okay, now we're going to go really write some fucking songs, because we got one under our belts now. And they wrote Interstate Love Song and Vaseline and all. So
Vaseline is the first single off of that. And I remember the radio station that we were interning at. I remember the first spin of that. I remember the Afternoon Drive guy, Meltdown. He played that, and I was there when he played it. I was working down the hall, but I knew he was playing a new STP song. I had already loved STP because I loved that first album, and STP was pretty established. So the radio station made a big deal, like, okay, so here we are. We're getting to see, okay, is there growth? Are they doing the exact same thing? And Vaseline sounded different.
Yep.
Everything about it was different. The way that it came in weirdly, and it was just awesome. I remember hearing that song for the first time. So I've got some pretty strong memories of STP, man. I mean, they go down as one of my all-time favorite bands.
Easily. In fact, here you go. And we're never going to take a break, so who cares? It's so much easier when you don't have to take a break. You know what I mean? I I was thinking about this today as I was like walking back to my car this afternoon, and I was like putting Stone Temple Pilots into context, right? So I'm like, start doing the game, because I know I got to do the podcast. I'm like, if someone said you have to choose between this band and Stone Temple Pilots, just to listen to, not about cool, not about who's a better singer or guitar player, just for your own personal listening. If you had to choose between Soundgarden and Stone Temple Pilots, I'm picking Stone Temple Pilots every time.
Oh,
I'm not saying they're better. I
Right.
just like their songs. They've got way more. They're a little more palatable than Soundgarden to me, I guess, I could listen to Stone Temple Pilots all day long. Soundgarden, I'm good for a few songs, and I'm like, all right, I got it. You know what I mean?
I don't think there's anything alternative about Stone Temple Pilots. They're a rock band. Like the Foo Fighters are a rock band.
Yep.
Stone Temple Pilots is a rock band.
Yeah.
That came out around at a certain time, and it was new music. And I know that first album sounded grungy, and people were trying to label it and classify it. They're just a flat out rock band. And the DeLeo brothers, they wear classic rock on their sleeves. They love all of that stuff. Those guys, they worshiped at the altar of Led Zeppelin.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
You can hear so much.
It's just they're a rock band. And there's a lot of parallels, because I know how much you like the Foo Fighters. I think there's a ton of parallels between Foo Fighters and Stone Temple Pilots. I think they wrote great riffs. They wrote great rock songs, really straight ahead rock songs.
Yeah. And what's great about it too is but it still had a different sound. It didn't sound like the hair bands. It didn't sound like Guns N' Roses and Metallica. They just had their own sound, and it was a fresher sound on a modern rock band. So yeah. No, I'm a Purple guy all the way. And what's really cool is, like, normally you have that big debut album and then the sophomore slump. We've seen that happen how many millions of times over the years. Foo Fighters went up. They came out with their first album, and then The Color and the Shape, boom, that's where Everlong and My Hero and all that stuff, Monkey Wrench is on. They went up. Stone Temple Pilots, Core was great. Stone Temple Pilots' Purple album, the second one, that's also got Big Empty on it. It's got Interstate Love Song, and that one took them to the stratosphere. That second album. So your parallel comparison totally works in that way.
We just mentioned that this morning on the air, because I want to say Alice in Chains' Dirt went 5 times platinum, so 5 million copies. Most people, Dirt was, you ask people what their favorite Alice in Chains album is, they'll say Dirt. Yeah. Again, because I was on board with Facelift, that's my introduction to the band. It's hard for me. It's hard for me not to think about how exciting it was and how different it was, because that came out and hair metal was still a thing.
Yep.
And Alice in Chains, they were out, man, with Facelift. And it was like, what the fuck? It was awesome. And I know that Dirt, it might be a better album, but God damn, that first Alice in Chains album, that's my favorite.
There's another great example of the second album, though. I mean, Alice in Chains, the Facelift is so good, but man, Dirt is just bam. That's the hits. That's all the stuff. It's just so great. Every song is so amazing. Damn it. Yeah, that's true. And Alice in Chains, going back to this, because, we don't ever talk about grunge enough on this podcast. The more I hear Alice in Chains, the more I've grown to appreciate them more and more to this day. Because if you listen to it, like you said, the heavy metal's out there, and that had a sound, and it was heavy. It was cool. Alice in Chains just went another step, because they were, whatever they fucking call it, drop D tuning. It was sludgier. It felt heavier.
They didn't know what to do with it, though. They didn't know what to do with it, because there wasn't grunge yet. Alice in Chains was out there playing. I mean, I know Soundgarden was around. Everyone knows Nirvana had the album Bleach, but nobody knew it yet. No. So when I saw Alice in Chains, they opened up for Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah. Yeah.
They opened up at some Ozzy Osbourne's rock metal show. And that's where Alice in Chains went. That's where they thought they were going with them. And then they kind of realized, oh, wait a minute. All this stuff's happening in Seattle right now. Boom, boom, boom. It's like, okay, Alice in Chains goes over in this box now. Right. But they were opening up for hair bands and metal bands. They were classified. Everybody was thinking that this was a new metal band when they came out.
Yeah, but if you listen to that stuff, man, it's just thick, man. The way they did the voices and the layering of the guitar,
the layering of the voices was
so thick, man. It's so
nobody was doing that.
Nobody was doing that. And it's funny you mentioned the fact that Alice in Chains was open up for Ozzy. I remember seeing Alice in Chains open it up for Van Halen. You know, Nirvana got asked in the early days to open for Guns N' Roses. And this is where the whole thing started with Axl and Kurt. Kurt said, fuck no, I'm not going to go play in front of all those dumb knuckle dragging meatheads. That's not what we're about. We're not frat boy party rock. And he turned it down, and that pissed Axl off, man. Then they had their fight backstage at MTV and all that bullshit. So,
but that was the Guns N' Roses Metallica tour. Can you imagine if Nirvana
Jesus Christ
had gone out and it was Nirvana, Guns, Metallica?
It would have been
shit.
Yeah, we say that now, but think about how that would have went over like a fucking dead balloon, man. Because think about that. Nirvana was so fucking weird compared to Guns N' Roses and Metallica. They had their lanes, and that's the same lane, basically.
Who did they get? Faith No More, right? I mean, I went to that tour.
That's true.
I think Faith No More, which was
fucking weird too.
Faith No More was way before all of this that we're talking about. I mean, we could dedicate a whole podcast to Faith No More, and I would be down for it. Okay.
Yeah. They deserve a lot more credit than they get. Absolutely.
They do. And you know, we already mentioned that Chili Peppers are 38 years ago, so 1984. But man, you know, if you really want to go way back, and you know, you would go Fishbone and Red Hot Chili Peppers. You gotta get a mention in there for Faith No More.
Yep.
You absolutely have to talk about Faith No More when it comes to doing that style. Okay. I mean, you can go way back and you say Jane's Addiction and all that stuff. But when it comes to how Mike Patton was doing a little bit of that rap and rock, he was mixing that stuff together. You know, people weren't doing that. You know, Chili Peppers were doing it, and that funky thing that Fishbone had done before Chili Peppers. We could do a whole podcast on Faith No More.
Yeah, and their stuff is so weird, but still fresh today. I was listening to some what was the Angel Dust, that album.
Angel Dust was the second album.
Oh my god, dude, that still sounds great. It's clean. The production is great. It's awesome. It's freaking, again, second album. I love that. Sometimes second albums work. Interesting. Maybe that's a topic for a future day. Rod, do you want to still do the top 5 STP songs after the break?
I think we should.
Yeah. Why don't we do it? It won't take long. I think it's pretty easy one.
Well, and you know, it kind of goes back to what we had discussed with Def Leppard. You know, those first 3 STP albums are so great. And then you know, if all we're doing is a top 5, fuck. You got those first 2 albums are ridiculous. You know, I mean, they are ridiculous. Well,
you could pick 5 songs off the either album and still have a great list. You can do 5 off of either album and still have. Oh yeah, no, you got it. Nailed it.
All right. We'll talk a little STP on the flip of the break. I guess this is the break that we're going to be coming back and flipping after.
That's all we got is one at this point. So yeah.
That's it still.
Yeah, we're not doing a good job. I got to be honest.
I just, as I'm going into this commercial, I'm looking at you. And if you're watching the YouTube channel, you look like you got a little eyeliner on, maybe?
No, just dirty. I haven't slept well. in a few days.
It looks okay. Yeah. Hey, New Orleans. Awesome. You know what's going on this weekend is the Red Dress Run, which I'm so pissed I'm not coming in for. But it's another like one of these great, awesome, you know, weekends in New Orleans.
Nuts.
You need a specific event to go and have a great time in New Orleans. You know how much I love it. Jason still lives there. Be sure when you go into New Orleans, you book the Pirates of the Quarter, the walking tour. It's fun. It's loaded with information. There's no other tour like it. There are a lot of tours. There's a lot of things to do in New Orleans. There's no tour like this one in the French Quarter. You're grabbing a drink. You're still walking around. Yeah, it should be like that everywhere. You should be able to walk around and drink. But you can do that. And you're hanging out with pirates. They're telling you these great stories, and they're real stories. It's real history. I'm not telling you that the other places lie to you. I'm telling you what these guys tell you. It's historical, but they make it interesting. Okay. It's not like you were back in history class and you're waiting until the thing's over with and you're trying to get through it. It's unbelievable how you're going to just ingest this stuff because they tie it into where you're walking and what you're doing. Incredible stories of real pirates and their involvement in the history of New Orleans. So you're going to be extremely surprised by the whole thing. There's way more to New Orleans than just Bourbon Street and drinking your face off, which is a great part of it. But save a little time to discover the pirate history of New Orleans. Details, piratesofthequarter.com and all socials at Pirates of the Quarter.
We were just talking about
a little darker, just a little bit.
Just haven't felt good. I've been slept like lately. So we were talking about naked rock stars. Yeah. Dude, I'm in a band, man. I'm in a band. We were talking about naked rock stars a little while ago about Flea and his junk dangling at Woodstock 99.
God, not a fucking stitch of clothing. I mean, what a boss move.
Badass, right? Stone Temple Pilots played Voodoo here in New Orleans. I couldn't tell you the year, dude. I don't know, but they were peak at their powers. It was awesome. And Weiland comes out. He's got a fucking mohawk and shit. And they just shredded the air that night. It was so great. You're out in City Park and the oak trees, and they're just destroying the place. It was great. They go on, do their songs, blah, 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 go off, oh no, hope they come back for the encore. Everyone's clapping and cheering, come on back. Weiland comes out, draped in an American flag, does a song, throws the flag up in the air, not a stitch on the dude as he walks off the stage, completely freaking Beans and Frank hanging out, just walks off stage, and that was it. I'm like, holy shit. What a great night. That is one of probably my favorite live bands. I saw him, I think, 2 or 3 times and blow me out of the water each time because Weiland was a rock star. He knew he was a rock star. He had that Bowie thing going. He was a damn rock star. And he was great at it. Really, really great at it, man. I mean, just awesome. So let's do our top 5 favorite Stone Temple Pilots songs. Rod, you want to go first?
I will go first, man.
Yeah, you will.
It's going to be very 90s Stone Temple Pilot list. Yeah. I struggled, but because I told you the story that I did, God, I'm the one. Respect the exercise, Rod. It's only 5, but fuck. Yeah. Because of what I told you about Vaseline, and hearing that song for the first time and hearing it on the radio and how special it was, because there's always that little bit when you love a band and there's that little bit of nervousness. Okay, let's see what have they done? How have they grown? What did they learn? Right. Are they going to stick with the same sound? Are they going to try something? Are they going to bring in a keyboard player? What are they going to do here?
Is Sammy Hagar going to sing?
Right.
Oh shit. Well, now what?
My experience hearing Vaseline played for the very first time on the radio and being at the radio station, I got Vaseline in at number 5. It was awesome. And it was that and Unglued, bro. We're right there neck and neck with one another.
And that
absolutely.
Unglued doesn't get a lot of radio airplay anymore. It doesn't. It's not a radio staple anymore. It just is a shame.
One of my all-time favorite STP riffs because it's so Zeppelin-esque with he just rides that riff forever. It's like, dude, we got it. You got a cool riff there. He's like, fuck you. I'm not done. I'm still playing it. Jimmy Page did the same thing. It's like, I'm just going to play this riff over and over again until your ears bleed. That's what Unglued is to me.
And it works. It totally works.
Number 4, same thing with Vaseline. You and I were hearing Sex Type Thing for the first time, and it's from this brand new band with a funny name. And it just absolutely blew my mind. And I remember how excited I was because you think we're in college radio. This isn't being played anywhere. We feel like we just fucking found the Titanic, like we're divers and we just found something. We just found buried treasure. We're getting albums sent to us all the time. Like we got Tool sent to us, that very first EP.
Yeah.
It was so weird sounding, but we at least played their cover of Hush. Remember they did a cover. We would play that. But we knew enough that we had to play it. It was cool sounding. So STP was probably the most excited I had been about That was the biggest discovery that you and I had on our dumb radio show, The Metal Asylum. I feel like STP was our biggest discovery because when we got there, like we played Dirt. We played the album Dirt for the very first time because we got it before everyone. College radio used to get stuff early.
Yep.
But I already knew Alice in Chains. So it was awesome that we had it before anybody. But you and I discovered Stone Temple Pilots. Okay. They would be nothing without our community college radio show.
I mean, you're welcome. You're welcome, DeLeo Brothers. And if you go back and you listen to that song, Sex Type Thing Today, the guitars in that, the more you listen to it, there's a lot going on in there. And I don't know shit about guitars, but the sounds they got coming out of that song, man, it's still fresh and there's still a lot you're hearing. And the subject matter is brutal. There's all kinds of controversy over that. It's not about raping a chick. It's an anti-rape song. Actually, if you really pay attention, he's writing it from a perspective, the whole thing, right? But that song still hits hard, man. It still hits hard. I love it.
Tom Morello, I told him to his face, you're our Eddie Van Halen. The DeLeo brothers, Dean and
Robert.
Yeah. Robert is the guitar player.
Dean's the guitar player. Robert's the bass player. Robert's got the slick back hair, the black hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dean DeLeo is our Jimmy Page.
He's credit.
He's our Jimmy Page, meaning that's his placeholder for that era of music. He's our Jimmy Page.
Wow, are you gonna eat shit with that comment, dude? Holy Christ! You just compared the guy from Stone Temple Pilots, Jimmy Page. You are gonna. Yep. I'm so glad you're not doing this on the radio. Holy.
Go listen to those fucking riffs. Listen to those riffs over and over and over again. He's our Jimmy Page.
I'm on board. But man, those guys do not get the credit. Stone Temple Pilots has never gotten the credit they probably deserve for a lot of things.
Number 4, Sex Type Thing. Number 3, Big Empty.
Nice. God damn, that song. The hook, when it kicks, it punches. It's huge.
A lot of it has to do with The Crow too, man.
Right. In that scene with the Thunderbird. Yeah.
Like I love that movie, The Crow, and the fact that back then when songs were on movie soundtracks, they were actually used in the movie. And then they just started realizing that movie soundtracks were big business and they just fucking put all kinds of music on them and people bought them. And I love it. I love movie soundtracks. I always have, whether they're in the movie or not. I love movie soundtracks because it's like a mixtape. And I've discovered so much music on movie soundtracks. They used to do them so good back in the day. Big Empty, because it's on Purple and because it's on the Crow soundtrack. The Crow is, one of the all-time great movie soundtracks, and that song being used in the movie is killer. You're right, in the car scene and everything. Huge song. So, I mean, that's my number 3.
Wow.
My 1 and 2. I mean, I just think it's like getting down to Led Zeppelin. It's like, are you going to put Stairway in there or not? Number 2 is Interstate Love Song. Number 1 is Plush. Plush might be the fucking best grunge song of all time. I said it there. I said it. You're right. I've been giving a lot of credit and I've been making some very big comments about Stone Temple Pilots.
Well.
Tell me a better grunge song. And I guess, okay, so Smells Like Teen Spirit. Gotcha. Plush. Plush might be the best grunge song of all time.
It's got all the elements, got the grungy guitar and the kind of deep, depressing,
amazing
delivery, and it's great.
But Interstate Love Song, and I know you love the song because it's the cool fucking car in the video. You're going to be an idiot. Just say, oh, I like it because there's a car in there. Interstate Love Song is like a fucking great driving song, but man, it's just not better than Plush.
Right.
And I know you're going back to their first album, but man, they just did it. They did it right. That song is perfection. And Interstate Love Song is a perfect song too. It's a perfect song. It's Salisbury Hill. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong. The tempo, everything. It's a perfect song. They have 2 of them. They have 2 perfect songs.
That's hard to do. It's hard to get one, and they got a couple actually. Yeah. Wow. Damn. You know what? Wow. Okay. Good list. Very good list. I like it, man.
It's not spread out over their catalog at all. You know what I mean? This is very reminiscent of what we did with Def Leppard, where, hey, They got like, two really good albums.
I got 2 albums I picked from. It's the first and second albums. That's all I got. I just scrambled the eggs differently than you, man. That's all I did. There's nothing really different here. I came in at number 5. Actually, you know what song I really grew to love over time? And it's not their best song. Cracker Man. Cracker Man is so fucking good off the first album, dude. Cut number 11, by the way. Cracker Man.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It's like a sex type thing, part 2 in a weird way. The sound of it and stuff. Dig out your album, go listen to it. It's great. Sort of a deep cut, for the grunge fans out there. Cracker Man's great.
That's your number 5.
It's my number 5. Yeah.
Okay, I love that song. I love that song.
It just hits hard. Number 4, I had Big Empty from the Crow soundtrack. It's funny because they were actually asked to write the song for the movie, and they were like, well, we'll give it a shot. And Big Empty comes out of it, right? And they're like, well, shit, we're just not going to give that to the damn movie. We're going to put on our damn album called Purple too. So that's where that comes from. They were asked to write that for the movie, which is great. And it came out, and it obviously worked because they wrote a monster. So even if I hear that today, and believe me, like you, play the shit out of that song, that comes on, I can still listen to it. I can still listen to that song.
I mean, the drums.
The whole thing.
Yep. I mean, it's just the sonically, that song is amazing.
It comes in, it's very sweet, and then it just freaking smashes, but in a good way. Number 3, throwing it back to 1992, College Radio, Sex Type Thing.
Nice.
I can still listen to that. I can still listen to that a lot. I like that. Number 2, I'm going deep cut again. Dude, I had to go deep cuts. Come on.
Wow.
Man. We're in radio. What the hell? Deep cut. I went to Purple. There's a great song called Still Remains on the album. Nobody fucking knows it. I know. I'm an asshole. Still Remains. It comes in at, it's the 5th track after Interstate Love Song. It's like, I don't know what it's about, but it seems like a pretty damn good love song. Weiland must have been having some girl things going on, because the lyrics, holy shit, man. If they wrote Hallmark cards like this, we'd all be played more often. Look at the lyrics. There's a great line about, he goes on and he talks about like, take a bath and we're drinking wine or some shit. I don't know. I'm fucking it up. But then he brings it back around to like, hey, I'll drink the fucking bath water. That's how hot you are. That's how great you are. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm bombing on the lyrics here. Listen to the song, go to the lyric video, Still Remains. You listen to it, you're going to be like, oh,
I'll go back.
This dude likes a girl. This dude likes a girl right here. This is good. This is really good. Yeah.
If I was to go deep into Purple, I would have chose Pretty Penny.
Still love that song too. Very sweet.
Amazing.
Mellow.
Like an amazing song that I don't think ever was a single. I'm pretty sure it was never a single. Pretty positive it was never a single. But yeah, it's a great song. Okay.
It was. Yeah. Hey, you had your turn. It's still my turn. What the hell?
I know you. I'm still waiting for number 1. And
Interstate Love Song, number 1, because of everything you said before. It's perfection. That guitar riff that swings through it. The lyrics are amazing. And the way the lyrics fit the music, like you don't hear, like you said, a perfect song. There's a million great songs, but somehow they were able to just put it all together. And literally, like you said, it's perfect.
It is tempo, sonically, everything about it. It's a perfect. I've always said it's a perfect song. You don't have Plush in your top 5.
Yeah, I blew right by it. I don't know. I guess I'm just sick of hearing it. I don't know.
Damn.
I still love it. And of course,
blasphemy.
Where Plush really took off is when they did their MTV Unplugged, and everyone was playing the acoustic version. That kind of gave you insight into that band, where you're like, oh, wait a minute, these guys can perform. They're good. It's not just a bunch of noise. They wrote great songs, and that's the true testament of a great song, which you've heard a million times. If you strip it down, if you sing it a cappella, a good song is a good song is a good song. When you undress it with all the toys in the studio, if it still stands up, you got yourself a good song. Mm-hmm. You can't fix a piece of shit. You know what I mean? You really can't. You can try, you can cover it up. God damn, you know what? And I was looking at when their album 4 came out, right? It didn't do much. They had a song called Down on, I think Sour Girl was their hit on that one.
Sour Girl. I love Sour Girl. I love it because it sounds weird, but it's still catchy. I remember the video was fucking weird.
Wasn't Sarah Michelle Gellar the chick in it or something?
Oh, geez, I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, I remember dumb shit. I love that album. I love that. It just doesn't quite stand up to Purple and Core. Damn it. Now, guess what? I'll be listening to some Stone Temple Pilots this weekend, bro. Guarantee I will.
Let's not forget, and it just came to me, and I didn't really, I mean, obviously it's stored away somewhere, but don't forget, STP had a huge hit with Dancing Days.
The
Unplugged.
Cover. Yeah.
That Zeppelin cover was big. Like, that was a single for them. That was on the radio. It charted everything.
Yeah.
You and I in New Orleans, we went to go see STP live with Cheap Trick opened up. And Stone Temple Pilots broke down and they came out and they did a little acoustic set. And that's when that was all happening. And they did that Dancing Days. Listen, I've never really liked that Dancing Day song. I never liked the Zeppelin version of it. I didn't like the STP version of it because we played the shit out of it too. Yeah, but that was a huge, huge hit for them. I'm just trying to kind of like get you some more connective tissue to my Led Zeppelin comments earlier. I forgot. Right. No. It was back there somewhere. And then I just hit me. Shit, Dancing Days was huge for STP.
If you go to their son of a bitch, this is going to be a long podcast. Hold on. I'll look at my CD for a quick second here. It just so happens I have another CD here. Tiny Music. Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop. What the hell? Mm-hmm. Unglued, the song you like is on there. Who put this away? I can't even fucking open it. Somebody's been in my CDs. There's a song, and I can't think of it now.
Big Bang Baby was that, that one I didn't really like that much. I thought it was a little too, I thought it was a little too rock and roll.
It just felt weird. Little Bowie-esque going on there in the video and stuff. Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart was another hit on that album. Yep. Listen to the guitar. It's literally Jimmy Page stepped into the studio and is playing the guitar. You can hear it. Unbelievable.
Fucking right, because he's our Jimmy Page.
Oh, wow. Oof, you're going to double down. Someone's going to get some comments in the comments section. By the way, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There you go. Leave the comments. Come at me,
bro. Come at me.
I got a funny feeling we're going to catch some shit this week, dude. And I love it, man. That's what's great about music. You can debate it all day long, but at the end of the day, it's what you like. That's what matters. It's what you like. By the way, not to jump all over the fucking board today, but we were talking about the Elvis movie months ago before we quit doing the podcast, right? Remember the Elvis movie with I didn't see it yet. Did you see it?
No. Okay. I saw that it's available on pay-per-view. So $20. I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to watch it this weekend. And I get it. I mean, Top Gun got me back to the theater. I hadn't been in the theater in 5 years.
So good.
And people are going to tell me, Rod, please go to the theater. It's like, it's already there. It's, I got a nice big TV here. I got a nice couch. So I just saw that it was available.
So and I remember when it was just about to come out, we were talking about, we did all kinds of shit on Elvis. And I was saying to you then, I'm like, man, you know what? I can't wait for my mom to see it. Right. And then have a discussion after we both seen it and get her take on it. Cause she lived through it. Elvis was her dude, man. I mean, Elvis was everybody's dude back then, but like, I wanted to get her perspective compared to mine. Cause I didn't grow up with it. And I wanted to see where we would meet in the middle. Right. So she's been on my ass a couple of times. She's like, did you see Elvis yet? I'm like, no. She goes, damn it, I've seen it twice. I'll go see it again. Dude, she freaking loved it. She wouldn't talk about it. I said, don't tell me anything else. She said, it is so good. She said, that kid nails Elvis. And believe me, my mom is a lady who studied some Elvis. She knew Elvis. So my mom can't wait to talk about us, talk about it with me.
I'm going to tell my mom and she's going to say, I'm crazy. I'm going to send her $20 because she'll never spend fucking $20 on a movie on her TV. It'll just freak her out. But I'm going to tell her to watch it this weekend.
Yeah.
I pay her damn cable bill. I'm going to tell her to order it. I pay her cable bill now that I think about it. So it's on me. I'm going to make her watch it this weekend too. Cause I want to hear her thoughts. Cause she's probably my mom's watched Bohemian Rhapsody. I bet you 15 times.
Really?
Yes. My mom, we didn't really grow up listening to Queen. My mom was like a late in life Queen fan and she just obsesses over Freddie Mercury now.
Right. Yeah,
he's got
find out.
He's got an opera album that he did with like a Pavarotti type of, or a girl. And she listens to that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He did like an opera. And that was like his shining moment, you know, to show like he really legitimately had like this next level, you know, out of this world voice. But I'm glad you brought up your mom, because my mom just, again, we grew up at the altar of Elvis in my house too. Oh, I have it within reach. Okay, say something really witty. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. This is only going to be for the YouTube audience.
We've been talking for an hour and a half. I haven't come up with one thing witty yet. So I'm pretty sure in 30 seconds, I'm not going to magically do something. But I will tell you this, man. Go dig out your Stone Temple Pilots albums. Get your top 5. Put them in the comments. We read them. We may not comment, but believe me, we read all of the comments, right? And that's what happened to Rod. So there you go.
I forgot that I have like fucking only one leg. So when I said 30 seconds, I'm like, oh damn, I can't move that quick.
Well, you know what? You'll never know what I said unless you go back and listen to the podcast. So
No,
I got a secret between me and the listeners now. And they know the
so
secret is bullshit. There isn't one. So there you go. What do you got? What do you got?
YouTube audience only.
Oh, see, you got to watch. You got to watch.
I had referenced this.
Oh, is that the picture?
Only. That is, so look at that. I'm showing it to the camera. So there's a date on there.
Right.
That drunk in the middle is my grandpa. And I'm sure he's wasted.
Good.
And slurring his words. So those are the only memories I have of him, is just being completely annihilated.
Wow.
And this is in Germany. I mentioned to you, and it says the Hotel Hamburger, I think. Yep. And I told you a story that my grandfather went to go see my Uncle Stan in Germany, and Elvis was on the same base. They were in the army at the exact same time on the same base. My grandfather and my Uncle Matt, how many beers are on that table? 1, 2, 3, 4, and a couple of drinks.
Wow.
I come from drinkers, bro. I come from drinkers. Elvis saw that my grandfather was blind, went over to him. This is an Instamatic picture. Right. Okay. Is the date on there?
2/1/1959.
1959. And look really close. It's my understanding that above Elvis's head, that's his thumbprint, because the picture wasn't quite dry yet.
No way.
When I say it's an Instamatic, okay, here's where it gets really cool. I'm going to turn it around because I have this in a special frame where it's a glass case.
Yeah.
And that's Elvis Presley's autograph on the back of the photo.
Holy shit.
And I looked it up to see how Elvis writes his name. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. It's legit.
Holy crap. That is freaking awesome, dude. Put that in the safe.
A little show and tell here on the Rod Ryan Show for the YouTube. Sorry about that. You really should watch this on YouTube, because we do look totally goofier than we sound. But yeah, this is one of those things. So the picture, I don't know how my sister doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff. Sue doesn't care about she doesn't want anything. She doesn't, like me and my mom and I, like, we're the pack rats. We're the sentimental ones. We save everything.
Yes. I know. I've helped you move about 10 different times.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're like, well, Rod, how did you get that picture? My sister doesn't give a shit. Okay. I don't know if she's ever told anybody that her grandpa was hanging out with Elvis. And I've told that story a million times, but I got the picture to back it up. So you brought up Elvis. Are you going to go to do you still want to see it in the theater? Or now that I've told you can get it like a lazy sack of shit in your house without leaving for $20? What does that do for you?
Yeah, I'll probably do it that way, just from a time situation. So I'm not driving to the theater, but that's one of those movies where I want to be in it. I want to be immersed in that music. I want to feel it. Now I got a kick-ass sound system. I got a big TV. It's still not the same as the theater. So I'll probably cheese out and do it this way. But man, to be in there and have all that Elvis washing over you, man, holy shit. I got the fur rising up on my arms now just thinking about how cool it's going to be. And I'm hoping it is. My mom says she'll go see it again and again and again.
I'm going to tell my mom to watch it too. I'm going to make sure she'll be so upset because it's $20. She won't enjoy the movie. She's like, fuck, it's $20. Jesus Christ. $20. When I went to the theater, it was a nickel.
She wouldn't pay for you to go see Jaws, dude. You couldn't both go or some shit, right? Wasn't that the deal?
It was a nickel for a double feature. Now it's $20 for a movie on my TV. She's gonna be miserable the whole time. I'm gonna force her to watch it though.
Holy shit, man, that's funny. That cracks me up. Well, you come from that world. That's what you do, right?
Football on Saturday. Oof. As we get ready to wrap up here, the Texans are taking on the Saints. You know what I did watch today? I watched Hard Knocks. Now listen, I know you don't give a shit about the Lions. I can tell you I don't give a shit about the Lions. Hard Knocks is done so well. Dude, I watched the first episode. It's got me into football. Hard Knocks is great. Yes. Yeah. Hard Knocks is, they do it so well. They make the coach seem cool. He's got Sean Payton ties. He played in New Orleans. There's some coaches there that played for the Bills. Hard Knocks is so good, dude. It's so good. The Lions, who gives a shit? And the episode was great. It's got me so pumped for football. Now, of course, this is phony football. Texans taking on the Saints. I don't know how the Saints are looking. I don't know much. I root for them. I love the Saints. And the Texans, we're still dealing with all this fallout with fucking Deshaun Watson. It's a mess over here. It's a complete mess.
Rubby tugs.
He loves his tuggies. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Yeah, but just make sure that, just give me literally a 45-second, what's going on with the Saints? What are they saying? Is there anything? Do you have a quarterback?
Jameis Winston.
Is Drew Brees coming back?
No, he's old. Jameis Winston will be our guy. He's back from the leg injury. He's been thumbing the ball around. Everyone's like, oh, he's doing great at practice. I think we're going to be fine. We got a new coach for the first time in many years. Sean Payton is no longer there. Dennis Allen comes from defense, goes to offense. We still got our offensive coordinator. We still got a lot of skill players. I think we're going to be like a 9-7 team. Maybe make the playoffs 9-7. That's what I'm going with the Saints. I'm not putting a lot of stock in on the new guy. Who knows? Maybe he'll rally the troops and get everybody on board, but we'll see what happens. 9-7 Saints. Rod, how's Houston going to go?
I don't know anybody right now. I don't know who our quarterback is. I don't know anyone on the team. I think Lovie Smith is our coach. I don't know. There's a Davis Mills guy with a big, long giraffe neck. I don't know.
Steve Grogan.
I don't know. It's like Steve Grogan. His neck is longer. I think his neck is longer. I don't know. For me, I want them to do well. I live here, and I do. I like the Texans. It's just a shitty organization. I don't mind saying it. I don't, and I don't mind taking crap for it. They're not putting the right product out there on the field, and every fucking game is sold out. They're making so much money. And I know some tailgaters that have been there since year one that said, we're not going, until you guys fix this. It needs to be fixed. We're the Cleveland Browns. We might be worse than the Cleveland Browns because now that they got our problem, at least they have our problem. I don't even know who our problem is now. So we can't seem to fix this thing. So all my chips are in on the Bills. The Bills are going to the fucking Super Bowl this year. And the Texans are years away. Years away. I will root for them. I'll be excited when we win. I won't be that disappointed when we lose because I'm expecting us to lose a lot.
You know what? The Bills thing, that's where it's at. I'm hanging my hat on the Super Bowl too, man. This year, we say it every year. It's our year this year, right?
Well, they brought in Von Miller. And they brought in Von Miller to basically get us past Kansas City. That's it. So our defense, offense, boom. This is it. This is it though. This year, it's not like they're not going to be great next year. And Josh Allen is young and stuff, but I really think that this is the year that we get past Kansas City. I think we go to the Super Bowl, and I think we got a good shot of winning it. I'm not expecting it because you're from Buffalo and you've just been disappointed your whole life. So
right. It's kind of like,
you've been disappointed your whole life.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, no, I got you. I get it. I know exactly what you're saying right there, man. But yeah, I have not gotten that excited about football this year yet. Preseason just is frustrating. I hate preseason. Week 1, I'll be into it. I'll be ready to go. I'll be fired up about the Bills. I'll be fired up about the Saints. I will. Yeah, it's all about the Bills this year, though. I think because we know that they've got the deck stacked in their favor. They're loaded. They're loaded. So they've got the best shot, I think.
The Texans, we should be happy if we win 5 games.
Yeah, draft picks for next year.
5 games. We should be happy if we win 5 games. It's going to be a long season, as was last year. With this whole Deshaun Watson thing, I don't know. I don't. It's just Bills. Yeah, it's all Bills right here.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's all about the Bills this year, for sure. I'm on board totally. Rod, any final thoughts, man? We're gonna wrap this shit up. We can talk all night.
Yeah, it was just, I just wanted to get in a mention that at least you and I, as I sit in Houston and you sit in New Orleans, the Texans take on the Saints. That's Saturday at 7:00. And I did want to give just another plug for Hard Knocks, man. If you are finding it hard to get into football, Hard Knocks, HBO, I can't stress how little I care about the Lions, and nobody cares about the Lions. I think they won 4 or 5 games last year. So they got the number 2 pick in the draft, and this kid, they got him up there and he had to sing in front of everybody, and he sang Michael Jackson, Billie Jean. And it's funny. It's funny. Immediately, I like their coach. Like, I'm on board. I'm on board with this already. The other thing I wanted to say was we passed out backpacks last week.
Right.
And we work with an organization called Houston Children's Charity. And we had talked about, selling T-shirts and doing all the fun stuff that we've been working on this summer. So I took them an $81,000 check. Ooh. And I probably, I hate to say it, but I think I've got I think I'm good for another 10 or 15 grand. Once all the dust settles on the store and a couple of checks coming in still, but sweet. $81,000 right now. And it's going to go over 90. It's going to go over 90. So fundraising was a lot of hard work this summer, but we got it done. And it was fun. And, thanks for letting me use this platform too, to, talk about it a little bit. I know you were a big supporter of it.
Totally, dude. It's awesome.
The people really came through with fucking eggs and cheese costing more than we've ever seen in our lifetime, and gas being what it is, and people still donating and still spending money in the store and dropping money for a backpack and all of that. It was awesome. Just such great people. You and I both, I know that you feel the same way. We're super fortunate to be able to do what we do. And sometimes you just say thank you to the listeners and it doesn't seem like enough, but I'm just going to say it again. Thank you. It was just awesome. So anybody that looked in the store and bought something and dropped money in there, thank you. It was awesome.
It's very cool.
Jason, final thoughts.
You know what? I was just going to say that, we get caught up on the internet and social media. And after a while, you're just like, everything sucks. Every human's an asshole. And it's just terrible out there, but it's not. It's not. It's like you talked about earlier where you went to Woodstock 99. Yeah, bad shit happened. But you were at the part where it was cool. It was awesome. So yeah, there's a ton of bad shit out in the world, but if you focus on it, you're going to go nuts. But people are out there every day doing good things. In fact, way more people are doing a lot of good things, but that doesn't get news. Getting a kitten out of a tree doesn't get news. Burning down a school gets news, unfortunately, right? There's so much good shit happening out there. And I'm not just sitting here sounding like I got a rainbow flying out of my ass, but, don't get caught up in all the bullshit. Get out there, do shit. Get off the internet. You know what I mean? Do shit. Rod's doing shit. The pictures looked amazing, by the way, on your socials from Saturday. Holy shit. There's just people everywhere. That's great. Yeah. A lot of volunteers showed up too, man. That was cool.
Yep. There was a lot of volunteers, and that's a fun day too, because we're there and, hey, maybe I'm going to, be in one of the pictures on the radio station website and all that. And I told everybody, I said, man, this is awesome to see you all here, but Houston Children's Charity, they're going to need people for something that they're working on next week. And they're going to need people here to pass out mattresses in a month or two. And they've got a Christmas program. And guess what? The food bank, the furniture bank, everybody, if you don't, I get it. Because of gas, eggs, milk, everything that I've talked about with inflation, money is a tough ask for people. But if you have a little bit of free time, boy, these charities, every single one of them needs your help. And, even if you've ever been on a build before and I know you've done some stuff with Habitat for Humanity, and you've done some rebuilding stuff in New Orleans, it's so rewarding. It's so fun, man. You're sitting there with a bunch of people and you fucking put up a wall of a house.
It's cool.
Jeez, man, you feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
And that's just you out working and donating some of your time. So every charity, of course they want money. Cash is king, but boy, every one of them wants bodies. They need boots on the ground.
Yeah, because the cash coming in, that's great and all, but someone's got to hand those boxes to people. Someone's got to pack that shit. So they always talk about that. I know, and I don't want to keep going on this too much, but I know I've done stuff with the food bank locally here in New Orleans in the past. And I said, like, well, and I asked this question straight up because I kind of wanted to know. I'm like, who's coming here, man? I said, how do they get access to this program? And the guy at the food bank told me, he goes, look, you'd be surprised who comes here. He goes, the problem is a lot of people are too proud to ask for help. He's like, you don't know how many people suffer and they don't have to. He goes, they're so afraid to reach out for a little help. And it might be for a couple of weeks. It might be a one-time thing in between checks because, like you said, eggs and gas and milk is so expensive. They might just need something to kind of guide them through a few weeks. He goes, people are too damn proud to ask for help. He goes, but you know what? Ask. Don't be ashamed because no one's going to sit there and break your balls because you're in line in your car to go get something to eat for your kids. You know what I mean? He goes, there's numbers out there. Call them. If you need the help, call them. So yeah, it's a crazy thing. And I'm looking forward to doing some more stuff here locally with the food bank this fall too, man. So awesome. Looking forward to that. Yeah, it's all good stuff, man. Get out there and help out if you can. That's all I got, dude. This week has been a great one. I've really enjoyed this podcast. I think we finally hit one pretty well.
Like you hated the other ones?
I hate everything. You know how it is, man. You hate everything you do. I fucking have never done anything right in my life. I'm a horrible critic.
This is one of those, wow, look at the time. That's what I'll say that. Wow, look at the time.
Holy shit.
We talked.
Christ. I gotta fucking edit this thing now. Damn it. All right, dude. Well, good stuff tonight. Check us out on the socials. Hit us up on the YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And then, we'll maybe put one together next week too.
What? Are we doing one next week already? We're doing one?
We got to string 4 in a row to get our street cred back at least 4 in a row, dude, before we can take another week off. Okay.
All right. Fucking Alex, meanwhile, is doing like 6 a week now. He's doing 6 podcasts a week. And we're like wondering, geez, do we have time to squeeze one in?
Bro, what a week. Hey, that's good. I applaud the dude. I applaud him for doing it because, man, it's work. It's fun, but it's work and good for him. Go check out his podcast as well.
Oh, yeah. Pass the gravy. And every day he's talking about fucking Big Brother, Pass the Gravy, bro. He's got that. And he's on with this other guy talking about Giants and some fucking soccer team. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
Christ. Wow. I mean, wow. Okay. That's cool.
All right.
I dig it. All right, dude. Like,
bye, everybody. Thank you.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at Play Pants Pod.